The House will come to order. Members will be at their seats. The clerk has opened the roll, and you may record your presence. Please rise and give your attention to the House chaplain, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Representative Titus.
Good morning, friends. Allow me to pray for you. Father, today our minds are often filled with so much information, it literally becomes difficult to separate truth and falsehood. We know what we want, but desire it to be the right thing and not just the convenient. So today, would you direct us in the path of truth and righteousness? We also pray for those who are sick from our assembly. Might your healing hand be upon them as they begin their recovery, so we can soon welcome them back. In the following hours, many will sit in a room and make decisions which impacts our states and its citizens. Direct the dialogue, the debate, and yes, even the end result in such a way as to make our very livelihood in Kansas appealing and wholesome. We do pray for our women and men in uniform deployed on the front lines of danger. We lift their families to you also and ask that you would provide comfort as only you can. The book of Isaiah 43:18 states, "Do not call to mind the former things or ponder things of the past. Behold, I am doing something new." Father, today help us to see with new eyes that which may have just been hidden in our debates and discussions. Thank you for our families and the love they have for us, even though we are often absent from them. May we always cherish the moments we do have together. And finally, might each of us experience your love and cherish the moments we have with you and our family and friends. I pray this in the name of the one who loves each unconditionally, and say amen.
Have all the members had an opportunity to record their presence? The clerk will close the roll and record the attendance. To celebrate Kansas Day, the chair recognizes Representative Ballard and Berquist to lead us in the singing of Home on the Range, the state song.
Well, good morning. We're going to celebrate our state this morning, and we'll make it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. We're going to do the first verse, the chorus, the second verse, and then go back to the chorus. And when you do that second time, I want you to really sing out. And you might say, well, I can't sing. Well, then hum real loud. And if you say, I can't hum real loud, somebody will hum louder than you were, and it'll be a nice harmony.
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
And we're going to do the best we can up here. All right, ready?
Oh, give me a home where the buffalo roam, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word,
and the skies are not cloudy all day.
How often
at night,
when the heavens
heavens are bright, with the light
from
from
the
the
glittering
glittering stars,
how
how
I
I
stood
stood
there
there
amazed
amazed, and asked as I gazed, if their glory exceeds that of ours.
Here's your chance.
Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day.
You.
The Speaker recognizes Representative Proctor on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I have with me here at the well and in the balcony the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raider team. Down here with me at the well are coaches First Sergeant Wayne Cogdill, Coach Edwards, and cadets Catherine Edwards, Raina Clucci, Jeremiah Purvis, Jonathan Purvis, Elizabeth Howe, Christy Scolari, Jacob Forey, and Gabrielle Ofavoriole. A couple months ago in Molina, Georgia, the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raiders won the Raider National Championships for the 4th time in 5 years. This is a grueling 3-day competition, which includes a physical training test, a 5K run, and a 1-rope bridge. They beat 94 other teams from across the country to win this championship. You might be asking yourself how a small city like Leavenworth could so consistently defeat so many teams from bigger cities from across the nation. It's definitely a testament to these kids, their hard work and determination to excel. But it's also about these coaches who sacrifice so much to inspire these kids to go a little bit faster, a little bit longer. And it's a testament to the parents of each one of these kids who sacrifice so much of their time and money to make this team work day in and day out. And finally, it's about the entire community of Leavenworth, Fort Leavenworth, and Lansing that gives so much of their time and treasure to support this team and give them the resources they need to achieve and win these championships year after year. But most of all, it's about setting high expectations and standards for our kids. The success of this junior ROTC program, whether it's the Raider team, the armed and unarmed drill team, or the color guard, is squarely a result of the cadre of this program setting high standards, not compromising those standards, and inspiring these kids to rise to meet and exceed them. Kids thrive when we expect more of them than they think they're capable of achieving. And this achievement that we're recognizing today reflects that fact. And so, on behalf of Kansas House of Representatives, I'm honored to present this tribute to the Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC Raiders. For your hard work, dedication, and commitment to excellence, they reflect great credit on your team, Leavenworth High School Junior ROTC, the city of Leavenworth, and the state of Kansas. Mr. Speaker, I ask my words be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. The Speaker recognizes Representative Hoagland on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Speaker Pro Tem. I come before you this morning to honor Ruth Ann Hackler. She graduated from Overbrook High School in 1941. She received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Washburn and went on to teach at Washburn Rural High School and Olathe High School. She was married to Eugene Hackler, an attorney in Olathe, for 50 years preceding his death. They have 3 daughters, Amy, Susan, and Nancy. Ruth Ann served on the Olathe School Board for 22 years, 10 of those as president or vice president of the board. She was an officer of the Kansas Association of School Boards from 82 to 85, a delegate to the National School Board, a member of the Governor's Education Cabinet, a founding member of Johnson County Community College. In
Lower the noise,
1990
please.
Thank you. In 1990, she received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Johnson County Parks and Recreation 50+ program, but she had so much more to do. That same year, she was elected to this body, officially on Christmas Eve by 4 votes, representing the 15th District in the Legislature. She served on the Education Committee, Public Health and Welfare, Governmental Organization, it's a long list, Joint Committee on Arts and Cultural Resources, Special Joint Committee on Children's Initiatives, and the Joint Committee on Children and Families. The Olathe Public School Alumni Association honored Ruth Ann with a Wall of Honor, Distinguished Person of Honor in 2014. Now, of all the list of her accomplishments I reviewed to prepare these remarks, one of her proudest accomplishments was the successful implementation of Be Wise, Immunize, something we would all be wise to do to this day. This giant turns 100 on Friday. Mr. Speaker, I ask that my words be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. The Speaker recognizes Representative Corbett on a point of personal privilege.
Good morning, colleagues. Dennis Shaw started his career in the EMS as a first responder at the Linden Osage Fire Department in '93. He decided to start at age 38. Dennis has been awarded the Star of Life in recognition for his service above and beyond the call of duty by the American Ambulance Association. He is a first to arrive and last to leave. Though Dennis is a man of few words, it seems like when he's on the scene, he seems to be able to calm people down and get the job done. Dennis is a resident of Overbrook, Kansas, and he's a young man of 69. And you can see, Dennis, we have a target-rich environment here, so we might need you today. Anyway, to ensure as to what his retirement plans might be, Dennis said that he was going to continue on doing what he does, and he's an EMT now for Shawnee County. So I would urge the House to give Dennis a A good rip roaring clap. Thank you. Good job, Dan. I request my remarks to be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Thanks, Speaker. Thank you, Dan.
The Speaker recognizes Representative Schlingenziepen on a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. School-age youth, 82% spend their waking hours outside of the schoolroom. Boys and Girls Clubs provide essential out-of-school time services. 73 club site locations across the state of Kansas serving 10,820 youth and teens not only provide safe, affordable, and quality programs critical for working families, but are actively preparing kids and teens to graduate high school with the skills, confidence, and pathways necessary for a robust future. Whether it's a trade school, college, enlistment in the military, or straight into a career, club teens are ready to succeed in work life. Since 1955, our Capital Cities Club, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka, has been meeting the needs of families and providing safe, affordable, and quality programs. BGTCT supports 2,805 youth from every school district across Topeka and Shawnee County in 14 club site locations in assuring access to programs, services, and supports that enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. The Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka operate a center for middle and high school students out of a leased community center that has been shuttered. The focus is on advancing skill sets and strengthening and guiding pathways after graduation necessary for our city and state's future. Youth today will determine the health and the success of our state tomorrow. They are tomorrow's leaders, laborers, and learners. The need for this type of program for middle and high school students has exceeded the capacity of Topeka Boys and Girls Club, and a recent acquisition of property in East Topeka will become home to a workforce readiness, career, and leadership development center to expand Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka's reach, support the workforce needs, and propel futures that will drive systems change. This property, a blighted and neglected plot, was detracting from the overall health of the neighborhood on the east side of town. Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka knew that to tackle the initial cleanup would require an army of champions. Enter our team of champions, AmeriCorps' National Civilian Community Corps, a dedicated group of young people from ages 18 to 24 who are committed to serving in a 10-month team-based residential program, working with communities and supporting a variety of public-private partnerships and governmental collaborations to address local challenges through service. They've not only invested hours in Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka neighborhood improvement, but they have been role models and supports for the staff of the Topeka Boys and Girls Clubs, for their teens, and for our community. America was founded on a promise of opportunity. When we build stronger communities, we help make this promise a reality for every individual to succeed. Especially in times of adversity, we find the courage to unite and overcome. This is what AmeriCorps was designed for, to bring Americans together around vital community projects that enrich all our lives, working alongside each other for the betterment of every community. So please meet the Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka's project manager, Mr. Leroy Alston, and AmeriCorps' Water 3 team, raise your hands, Gus Kaufman, Camille Odell, Michaela Wade, Nolan Kaufman, Devin McCullough, Jacob Edgar, Alyssa Torres, Sydney George and Jen Clayton. And they come from all across the country. We've got Oregon here, we've got Washington State, we've got Connecticut, we've got Wisconsin. Who am I leaving out? We got California, Georgia. Got them all? Yay. And Vermont. And New Hampshire. So they come from all over to serve right here in the community. Let us join together in honoring these AmeriCorps volunteers, please. And also in the gallery, we have the CEO of the Topeka Boys Club and Boys and Girls Clubs of Topeka, Don McWilliams, and her staff. Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I ask that my words be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. Introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 2638 by the Committee on Agriculture and Natural Resources, requested by Representative Rajas. An act concerning real property relating to the conveyance thereof, requiring the Attorney General to investigate such conveyances, prohibiting the conveyance of title to certain real property to foreign adversaries, and establishing criminal penalties for violations therefore. House Bill 2639 by the Committee on Corrections and Juvenile Justice, requested by Representative Mon on behalf of the Kansas Appleseed. An act concerning the revised Kansas Juvenile Justice Code, prohibiting the use of restraints during hearings, authorizing exceptions if the court makes certain findings on the record defining hearing under the code. House Bill 2640 by the Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development, requested by Fred Patton on behalf of the Kansas Board of Regents. An act concerning research at Kansas public post-secondary educational institutions, creating the Kansas Strategic Research Act, establishing the Kansas Strategic Research Fund, making transfers to such fund, prescribing guidelines for the expenditure of monies credited thereto, and the powers, duties, and functions of the State Board of Regents, requiring annual reports to certain committees of the legislature. House Bill 2641 by Committee on Education, requested by Representative Hill, an act concerning education relating to school districts, requiring boards of education of school districts to adopt policies and procedures to prohibit students' use of privately owned electronic communication devices during school hours, allowing the use under certain circumstances. House Bill 2642 by Committee on Health and Human Services, requested by Representative Epley on behalf of the Kansas Dental Association. An act concerning health professions and practices relating to the regulation of dentists. Kansas Dental Board requiring a dentist to establish a bona fide relationship with a patient before providing dental services, prohibiting dental service contracts that limit a patient's ability to file a complaint with the board, updating certain provisions of the Kansas Dental Practices Act. House Bill 2643 by the Committee on Health and Human Services, requested by Representative Beegler on behalf of the Millen Laser Hair Removal. An act concerning health and health care relating to laser hair removal, creating the Laser Hair Removal Act, restricting the practice thereof to certain medical professionals. House Bill 2644 by the Committee on Education, requested by Fred Patton on behalf of the State Board of Regents. An act concerning the State Board of Regents relating to certain scholarship programs administered by the board, establishing uniform interest rate provisions for scholarship programs that include repayment obligations as a condition of receipt of such financial assistance, authorizing the board to recover the costs of collecting such repayment obligations, authorizing the board to charge fees to cover costs of administering scholarship, grant, and other financial assistance programs. House Bill 2645 by the Committee on Education, requested by Fred Patton on behalf of the State Board of Regents. An act concerning post-secondary education relating to the Nursing Service Scholarship Program, removing limits on the amount of scholarship awards and the number of scholarships, removing the requirement to obtain sponsor, modifying the terms and conditions for interest accrual on repayment obligations, abolishing the Nursing Service Scholarship Review Committee. House Bill 2646 by the Committee on Education, requested by Fred Patton on behalf of the State Board of Regents. An act concerning post-secondary education relating to Kansas Heroes Scholarship Act, modifying the financial limitations on the award of scholarships under the act, expanding the eligibility requirements for a scholarship. House Bill 2647 by the Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development, requested by Representative Blue, an act concerning rural communities in Kansas, creating the Kansas Rural Downtown Revitalization Act, establishing the Rural Downtown Revitalization Fund, making transfers to such fund, prescribing guidelines for the expenditure of monies credited thereto, and the duties of the Department of Commerce and the Director of the Kansas Main Street, requiring annual reports to certain committees of the legislature. House Bill 2648 by the Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development, requested by Eric Stafford on behalf of the Kansas Chamber of Commerce. An act concerning administrative rules and regulations, requirements for adoption of rules and regulations relating to economic impact statements, requiring legislative ratification for certain rules and regulations, requiring the director of the budget to review an agency's determination of implementation and compliance costs and disapprove proposed rules and regulations with incomplete or inaccurate economic impact statements. House Bill 2649 by Representative Haswood, an act concerning the Attorney General, requiring the Attorney General to submit an annual report to certain legislative committees regarding coordinated law enforcement agency training on missing and murdered Indigenous persons. House Bill 2650 by Committee on K-12 Education Budget, requested by Representative Getz. An act concerning education relating to school districts, requiring each school district to submit annually to the State Board of Education an at-risk student accountability plan and show longitudinal academic improvement in certain student subgroups and students identified as eligible for at-risk programs and services, revising the definition of evidence-based instruction relating to the provision of at-risk programs and services, removing the requirement that the State Board of Education approve and publish a list of evidence-based at-risk educational programs, requiring the State Board of Education to publish an online guidance resource for at-risk educational groups, prohibiting the State Board of Education from revising curriculum standards in English language arts and mathematics until 75% of all students achieve academic proficiency, requiring school districts to be in compliance with all state laws and regulations to maintain accreditation. House Bill 2651 by Committee on Appropriations, requested by Representative Waymaster, an act concerning agriculture relating to farm tenancies, requiring a third party that causes damage to crops or land to notify the landowner of such damage, request documentation of existing tenants of such land, and to reimburse such landowner and any such tenant in accordance with the existing land lease agreement. House Bill 2652 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, requested by Representative Bryce, an act requiring the display of the national motto in public buildings. House Bill number 2653 by Committee on Federal and State Affairs, requested by Representative Howell on behalf of Kansas Family Voice. An act concerning children and families relating to orders of child support, providing for child support for unborn children from the date of conception. House Bill 2654 by the Committee on Corrections and Juvenile Justice, requested by Alex Falk on behalf of the Kansas County and District Attorneys Association. An act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to sentencing, calculation of confinement, excluding certain types of incarceration time from the allowance of time against a person's criminal sentence. House Bill 2655 by the Committee on Corrections and Juvenile Justice, requested by Representative Mon on behalf of Marilyn Harp. An act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to sentencing, requiring automatic expungement of certain records, sealing such records from public view, and limiting disclosure thereof. House Bill 2656 by the Committee on Corrections and Juvenile Justice, requested by Marley Carpenter on behalf of the City of Wichita and the Wichita Police Department. An act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to crimes involving motor vehicles, creating the crime of engaging in a street stunt and providing criminal penalties therefor, adding engaging in a street stunt to the list of crimes included in fleeing or attempted to elude a police officer. House Bill 2657 by Representatives Wagner, Murphy, Probst, and Seiwert, an act concerning the Kansas State Fair Board relating to membership thereof, requiring at least one member to be a resident of Reno County.
House Bill 2476 is withdrawn from the Committee on Agriculture and is referred to the Committee on Federal and State Affairs. House Bill 2545 appears on the consent calendar for the first day. Is there objection? Seeing none, it will remain on the consent calendar for the second day. The Speaker recognizes Representative Mason for a motion to adopt the Conference Committee report on Senate Bill 15.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Senate Bill 15, with this, we hope to renew a tax credit that was first begun in the 2019 session. What it does is it provides a 15% income tax credit to companies, taxpayers, who buy from qualified vendors. And these qualified vendors typically are those integrated workplace settings that hire at least 30% disabled Kansans. They provide 75% of the health care insurance costs for their employees, and they are not able to operate under the 214C waiver issued by the U.S. Department of Labor. Many of you know the 214C waiver is that which allows some of our sheltered workshops to pay sub-minimum wage for piecework and so forth. They're not able to do that under the original policy from from 2019. That particular statute provides a $500,000 cap per qualified vendor per year. So that's kind of an effort to spread the love around. And there was a $5 million cap for that 5-year period. In that year of 2019, that was House Bill 2044. Some of you had a chance to vote on that. We deemed it to be so non-controversial at the time that we placed it on the consent calendar, and it passed this body 116-1. The Senate did the exact same thing. They placed it on the consent calendar, and it passed that body 37-1. The issue we're facing is that there was a sunset put in the statute December 31st of 2023. And if you're sharp enough, you know that that's a month ago. So last year, moving forward in the timeline, we had House Bill 2275, which had basically the same policies. What we did is we increased the cap to a $10 million for the 5-year period, and then $10 million for each successive 5-year period, essentially making it an ongoing program. There was a provision in that particular, in the original language, which would allow some of these sheltered workshop organizations to create a division and have an integrated workforce, providing that they complied with those same 3 conditions. It created a lot of heartburn among our members. So the Chair of Commerce offered an amendment on that day. We debated and basically stripped that language out that allowed the divisions. And it also placed a $1 million fund into law, $1 million annually, to transition away as an incentive to transition away from the sheltered workshop model and the 214C waiver. After that amendment was adopted, then it passed this body 124-0. So it's likely you voted for that. It stalled in the Senate, and then later in the session, the provisions were placed in conference committee report for Senate Bill 8, and that was a broad-based tax plan. But ultimately, that was vetoed by the governor. So, bring us up to modern day. We had a conference committee report, a conference committee met, and we placed the contents of the policy into Senate Bill 15. The conferees agreed to change that cap to $8 million for the next 5-year period and the ensuing 5-year periods. Good news is we got 6 signatures on that, so there was general agreement. And in summarizing, and before I move the motion, I would like to give you a little bit of history then. We go back to that original policy. $3 million of that was utilized, of that tax credit. So if you divide that $3 million by the 15% tax credit, that means that we increase sales to those qualified vendors by $20 million. And that $20 million translates to a lot of employment opportunity for our disabled Kansans. So, Mr. Speaker, with that, I will move that we adopt the conference committee report for Senate Bill 15, and I will stand for questions.
Is there discussion? The Speaker recognizes Representative Probst.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The previous speaker did a fine job explaining this. I know there's been some discussion on our caucus about a portion of this policy regarding the shelter workshop grant program. And I just want to reiterate that the tax credit part is exactly what we saw last year, and we all supported that. This other part is designed to move us closer to where we want to be on the shelter workshop. I'd encourage everyone's support. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, Representative, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this is a really important policy for disabled Kansans, and our hope over the years is to increase this and increase the participation and put more and more of our fellow Kansans to work. So, Mr. Speaker, I'll renew my motion to adopt conference committee report for Senate Bill 15.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 15. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had the opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Thomas votes aye. Are there any further changes? Representative Sawyer Clayton votes aye. Representative Carmichael votes aye. Seeing no further changes. Representative Carlin votes aye. Any further changes? Seeing none. With Senate Bill 15 having received 117 voting in favor and 1 against the passage of Senate Bill 15, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. The Speaker recognizes the Majority Leader Croft for a motion to resolve into the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the purpose of considering those items under the heading of General Orders.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion carries. The Speaker appoints Representative Estes to chair the Committee of the Whole.
The first item of business is House Bill 2103. For the purpose of carrying HB 2103, the chair recognizes Representative Clifford.
Can you hear me now? There we go. I moved a little left there. Thank you, Madam Chair. There were committee amendments. I move adoption of the committee report.
You have heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes. The committee report is adopted. You may continue.
Before the body to present House substitute for House Bill 2103. The bill eliminates the statutory cap on alternative investments by the KPERS Board of Trustees. It also requires the board to establish a new cap. Alternative investments are defined in trust law as non-traditional investments like fixed income cash or securities. Examples include private equity, investments in privately held companies, infrastructure investments like toll roads, airports, electrical generation. Some examples to recognize: Uber, Battery Plus, Fast Signs, and American Tire Distributors. Alternative investments have become very important to the KPERS Trust Fund. For your knowledge, the fund is 50% dependent on investment income. Employers like the state of Kansas and counties contribute about 35%, and employees contribute only 15%. The 20-year return on the KPERS fund is about 7.5%. The return during that time on U.S. equities in the fund is 9.6, but the alternative investment return is 14.4. And even during market downturns, it's a bit of a hedge as it will go down less than U.S. equities. The bill also includes language for flexibility if market forces cause the alternative investments to exceed the cap. With that, I stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? The chair recognizes Representative Shu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The carrier did a great job. If I may just ask one clarifying question. Thank you. This bill removes the statutory cap, but my understanding is that there will be a different sort of cap in place. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's a requirement of the bill.
Thank you. Yes, there will be another cap in place. It'll just be set by the Capers Board. And I think most of us who are on the committee and most of the people in this building agree that the board's done a really great job. So I support this bill. I urge your support. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? If there is no further discussion, Representative Clifford, you may close.
Madam Chair, I move that when the body rises to report, they report House substitute for House Bill 2103 favorably for passage.
You have heard the motion by Representative Clifford to report HB 2103 favorably. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion passes. This concludes our general orders. The chair recognizes the majority leader.
Madam Chair, I move we rise and report.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes.
The clerk will read the committee report.
Mr. Speaker, your committee of the whole recommends that HB 2103 be passed as amended.
The speaker recognizes Representative Estes to adopt the committee of the whole report.
I move that we adopt the report of the committee of the whole.
You've heard the motion to adopt the committee report. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Committee on Corrections and Juvenile Justice recommends HB 2522 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. The Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development recommends HB 2544 be amended and the bill be passed as amended. The Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development recommends HB 2611 be passed. The Committee on Appropriations recommends House Bill 2495 be passed.
Are there announcements? Speaker recognizes Representative Riley.
Thank you, Speaker. Pro Tem, tomorrow morning we're having our legislative prayer breakfast. The speaker is Pastor Joe Crowley. He lives in Arc City. He's actually has his pastorate in a small church there in Wellington. His background is from Arc City, got in trouble a lot, went to California. And I think it'd be kind of interesting that we would have some of you legislators come and listen in to him. You can invite your office assistants or you can invite staff. He's one of the folks that was kind of there when they had that during the 1970s, when they had the Jesus movement. So it'll be kind of interesting to listen to some of his personal experience. You've probably seen that movie about the Jesus movement. So again, invite your staff, invite your office assistants. 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, 142 South. Thank you.
Speaker recognizes Representative Adam Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A couple of announcements today. First of all, House Tax is not meeting this afternoon. I know. And the next announcement is I currently have a resolution honoring and celebrating the 50th anniversary of NCSL. Looking for co-sponsors. If you're interested, I'll have the sign-up sheet. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Rajas.
Good morning, colleagues. If you're looking for some place to go, you have two choices dealing with agriculture. The Rural Caucus is reorganizing today. Immediately at room 152 South, Kansas Dairy is the sponsor. We'll make a presentation, and you will have Call Hall ice cream, if that means anything. Also, our friends of the Kansas Agriculture Alliance are having their annual legislative luncheon across the street at the Maitre D. So that is taking place now until 1 o'clock as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Wassinger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just another reminder to wear red tomorrow. It's Wear Red Day and it's American Heart Association Month. So you can wear your tie, wear red tie again tomorrow, and we won't say anything. So thank you all.
Seeing no further announcements, the Speaker recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion to adjourn. Oh, hold on, delay. Thank you. Representative Shannon Francis will replace Representative Delperdang on the House Committee on Transportation and Public Safety Budget on January 31st. This appointment will expire at the end of the day on January 31st. Representative Haskins replaces Representative Woodard on the House Higher Education Budget Committee on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Representative Vic Miller replaces Representative Woodard on the House Elections Committee on Thursday, February 1st, 2024. Representative Nguyen replaces Representative Vic Miller on the Federal and State Affairs Committee until further notice. Representative Haskins replaces Representative Poskin on the House K-12 Budget Committee on February 1st, 2024. Seeing no further announcements, the Speaker recognizes the Majority Leader for motion to adjourn.
Mr. Speaker, I move the House adjourn until Thursday, February 1st at 11 a.m.
You've all heard the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, no.